Back with us on the SportsMax Zone. We kick things off with football after that teaser by Donald Oliver. Now, after a pandemic-induced break, schoolboy football returns to Jamaica and in Jamaica with the Manning and the DaCosta Cup competitions starting Friday. These are the fixtures. Camperdown, they'll play Dunoon at Stadium East. Jonathan Grant, Strive for Excellence, they play Jose Marti in a, you can call it a Spanish town clash at the Prison Oval. JC, they punch with Calamar at JC, the Ashheim Stadium. Excelsior battle Tivoli, also at Stadium East. And then the second game of the Prison Oval doubleheader will see St. Andrew Technical against the school that these boys should walk to the Prison Oval. The boys from St. Jago coming as they are from just around the corner at Monk Street. And then in the DaCosta Cup, Clarendon College, they battle Edwin Allen also at Jamaica College. So 2 games at JC, 2 games at the Prison Oval, and the 2 games at Stadium East to start the competitions. In studio with us now, President of the Intersecondary School Sports Association, ISSA, Keith Wellington. He's the principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School down there in St. Elizabeth. Principal, welcome to the SportsMax Zone again, sir.
Thank you, George. Thanks for having me.
Good, good, good. All right, so we are here. You and your team would have done a lot of work. Firstly, convincing the government stakeholders that this thing can happen, and then you'd have been pleased to look at the COVID numbers to see how the numbers were going down, the rate of hospitalization falling, the reinfection rate falling, and you would have felt that you were in a good position. We are here now. All the protocols, are they in place? The vaccination, tell us about that as we go into Friday.
Yes, I think we would have done a lot of work, as you have said, especially over the last 3 weeks, having gotten the approval to go ahead. So we are putting in all the protocols that we would have established them, and we're trying to ensure that all the measures are in place to ensure that they are abided by or enforced if enforcement is required. The big thing for us would be the vaccination of all the persons involved on the field of play. And we're happy, well, first of all, for the schools, the players cannot play unless they are vaccinated. And we are happy that the referees have come on board as well, and we have almost 100% vaccination amongst the referees. So I think that we are getting there. I think our biggest concern right now is that the level of enthusiasm that is out there. We are just begging the public to understand that it's a no spectator event for the time being, so they should stay away from the venues.
Yes, you spoke about the referee. You're having, you have more than critical mass. You have almost 100% vaccination there. But the players and their coaches and the support staff,
100%.
23 hours before kickoff, everybody?
100%. Well, only those who are there will participate. And I can't speak for the individual schools, but I have not really had any complaints from schools that they do not have enough players who have taken up the offer to be vaccinated.
But before Lance takes it, President, 10 minutes. All right, so tomorrow, Friday, say for instance, the JC Calabar game, those boys involved, what will happen? Do they have to report to the venue like an hour before? Credentials presented individually, or will the credentials be presented by the coaching staff or management staff on behalf of everybody, and you do a head check? How would it work in practice?
All right, so first of all, everyone who turns up will have to turn up with an ISSA ID, and the ISSA ID certifies that they have been vaccinated, because we would have done our checks and our verification already. So nobody was issued an ID card.
What's on the ISSA ID?
It's just an ordinary ISSA ID, but they would not have been issued one without it having been verified that they have been vaccinated. So their cards would have had to be presented to ISSA, uploaded to our registration system, and we would have had to verify that this is an authentic card. A lot of the players were also vaccinated through a program we had with the Ministry of Health. So we would have sent them the list of players, and they would have turned up at the various vaccination sites to be vaccinated.
Are these cards personalized, or like the media cards, something that just says media, where I can give you, you can give your friends?
No, it's personalized with photographs. And so when they enter the venue, the first thing that is done is that they present their list. So we have each team is assigned 8 officials and 22 players, included a COVID marshal. The interaction that takes place at the outset is with the COVID marshal and our COVID compliance officer, who will take the registration document from them, check it off, and the individual player or official, their IDs will be checked, their temperatures checked, and then they are allowed into the venue.
Yeah, organisers, Keith, of the Jamaica Premier League had resuscitated the JPL in June of this year, and they primarily focused on one venue. I think 90 97 or 98% of the matches were all played at the UE Centre of Excellence. A couple of matches were played at Stadium East. You have several different venues that will be hosting schoolboy football matches. I suspect that your job of ensuring that you had multiple venues makes things a little bit more difficult for you than it would have been for the JPL.
Certainly, and initially we had planned to, I think, have 5 or 6 venues in Kingston, but when we met with the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Health, they suggested that it was too many, and therefore we reduced those to just 2 venues in Kingston plus Prison Oval for the Manning Cup, and then basically 1 per parish. And part of the reason was that we are going to need the support of the various state agencies to ensure that the protocols are complied with, and they would be stretched if we had too many venues. So yes, you're right, the multiple venues makes it a little bit more challenging, but we are doing it right across the country, and we have the support of the state agencies. So the inspections would have been done by the different government agencies to make sure that we have in the infrastructure that will allow for safety, and with all systems go, we go now and we get the monitoring done internally by our persons, but we will also have the support of these other in sports, SDF, ODPM, Ministry of Health, from game to game.
I noticed I've been seeing a lot of the previews on local television nightly, and I must say not only the body language, but verbally, the excitement level of not only the players, but the coaching staff and so on, has been very, very significant. You can see a genuine excitement from the players concerned that they're thrilled to be back playing schoolboy football.
Yes, certainly. Last night I had a meeting with the Manning Cup players. We intended just as a little pep talk for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and after an hour and 15 minutes I had to say, right, it's bedtime now.
Yes.
The excitement was there, and they were really asking some serious questions, and you could hear the excitement amongst them. So we are happy as principals. We understand what has been happening to these kids. We really understand in all aspects of their lives, and we are happy that this particular opportunity has been afforded to us to give them that chance to express themselves, and we're really pleased.
How far does oh gosh, I don't want to express it this way, but it's the best way to. How far does the cocoon of the bubble extend? Here's what I mean. Is ISSA responsible then for, suppose it is that the boys are assembling at school to go to Prison Oval, or school to come to JC, or school to go to Stadium East? Is it that ISSA is responsible for transporting them from source point to ensure the bubble is maintained, or is it that the school's responsibility?
No, it is the school's responsibility. Each school, remember, each school is a member of ISSA, so by
extension. Well, I mean, the secretariat, not the executive, right?
No, not the secretariat. So each school, we would have established protocols from as early as June. So even in July, before we got to the point where we knew we were going to have competitions, we would have shared with them protocols that would have developed through our involvement in CHAMS, through our involvement with the Ministry of Health and other agencies. So we would have asked them to abide by these protocols right through. And I think I may have had 2 instances where principals would have told me that they have a situation regarding COVID during the summer. But we have done very well, I think, and I'm very pleased with what is happening nationally, because it means that the risk involved for them has been lessened because of the lowering of the...
Here's the headline I don't want to see, why I asked that question. I don't want to be reading or reporting or commenting on that bus driver employed by X school who was unvaccinated is taking a bus of vaccinated children, then that damages your bubble. So you're saying that what you have in place protects against that?
Yes, and that the risk is still there, but we have done a lot to minimize it, almost down to, it can't be to zero, but minimize it.
And another thing, just before you go, so I'm picturing this scenario. So the game is being played at JC. There's a problem with the goal frame. That normally you'd have the staff, the ground staff, to come and do the running repairs. Are those staff vaccinated?
Well, we have said to them that everybody inside the venue must be vaccinated. So, for example, at States, I spoke with, we had not a blitz, we arranged for some vaccination to take place on campus on Tuesday, and we had a few staff who had not yet vaccinated, and I think we got by the time we were finished, we got to maybe about 98, 99% of the staff. But there's one person who is not, and I said to him, remember, you'll have to mark the field. Are you going to do it Friday evening or Saturday morning and leave?
Yes.
And leave.
Right.
And last one, Lance. So you said everybody inside the venue. But so last question on this now. I'm wanting you to avoid the unpleasant headlines. Those who provide the external ambulance service, as I know that there's an issue with healthcare workers being vaccinated in Jamaica, there's still a call for them because not enough of them are doing so.
That's right.
So the man driving the ambulance and his staff, will they be vaccinated?
All right, so and I want to be totally honest, I cannot vouch for a few groups, right? So, for example, I can't vouch that the policeman who turns up is vaccinated. I can't vouch that ODPM will send somebody who is vaccinated.
I'm sure they will, given their
That is what we're hoping for. And we're hoping that everyone will understand that this is an event for vaccinated persons, and where persons work with a particular organization, that they will understand that we're trying to protect people, and therefore...
But have you not asked them?
No, we have.
Ambulance people, don't send your unvaccinated driver and staff, send only the ones who come.
We have asked, and you know how these things are, because you see companies being taken to court now.
Yes.
So we have had to be careful how we word our requests.
Yes.
President, not all schools are back to face-to-face classes. Has this impacted in any way, shape or form the resuscitation of schoolboy football?
I think it has. We have only 75 schools participating, 53 DaCosta Cup, 22 Manning Cup. I think many of the schools that are not participating were not able to because of that directly, maybe because of access to the students, but also because of resources, because schools fund their sports program through fundraising activities, and you know there's limited opportunity now to raise funds. That in any activity that involves gathering people is almost non-existent. So
I know this is not your portfolio, more of a technical question here, but we know that there are some schools that are a lot more advanced in their football program than others. Are some of the teams involved in this year's competition hamstrung by a lack of resources, and we can logically expect for them not to be as well prepared, not only as they would have been in previous years, but also relative to some of the other elite teams?
It's not a technical question. It's a perfect question for a principal, because it is true what you have suggested. It is true. Even while we were waiting on approval, I got called from principal saying, "Mr. President, tell us if we're going to get the chance to play, because it is costing us, and we don't." And I mean, quote unquote, big schools, schools who would normally have enough resources. And they said, "Boy, what?" And I can speak for myself as well. It's just because of the value that we place on this that we have been able to stretch over these last, because schools have been trying to prepare over the last 2 or 3 months.
Yes.
Right? But
with the expectation.
With the expectation, but what costing them?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Insofar as how players are allowed to sit and interact on the bench, on the sidelines, are there any rules governing that?
Similar to the JPL, so we expect them to be in mask. We have asked the venue operators that they don't use the traditional team benches, but where possible use chairs and separate them. But again, it is going beyond what I think is really necessary, because remember, these players would already
that's the thing I have.
Would already,
they're group,
they're
already a group. So
they are already a cluster by themselves.
Yes.
So what we have to take careful note of is what is happening across teams and with the interactions with persons outside of that group.
You used the term earlier on about a COVID marshal, which we assigned to each game. Right. What would be the job description of that person?
All right, so we have a COVID marshal which is assigned to each team. Each team assigns their own COVID marshal. And basically, in a nutshell, the responsibility of that person is to ensure that everyone within his or her team is abiding by all the protocols, the COVID-19 protocols, as well as the logistic protocols as to how things should work.
Yes.
Right? But the organizers now, ISSA, we have appointed a COVID compliance officer for each venue. So that person now is responsible for everything. It's in football terms, they also have almost similar duties, not similar, but some of the duties of a match commissioner.
Yes.
So if things are not going well, they can go to the match officer and say, "Listen, this is not working, we have a breach here, the game has to be stopped or postponed." or whatever. So
for those fans now who say, all right, so I hear the principal articulating and reiterating that we are not welcome for the first phase of the competition.
I would not say that about our fans.
Well, for the first phase, Well, I'm saying it. You are not welcome for the first phase, Where can they watch it, principal? What are you putting in place to ensure?
Well, SportsMax, I can tell you your CEO and Jerome, they have done a wonderful job in terms of preparation to ensure that as many persons are able to see the games as possible. We are going to have a shortened season, but we are going to have more games than we normally have. So SportsMax, the SportsMax app, and it's going to be free. You don't have to register on the app. And if you have Wi-Fi, you will be able to watch it, right? You'll also be able to watch on, if you're abroad, seeing TV. SportsMax will also be carrying non-live footage on, I think, on its YouTube channel. And we at ISSA, we're also trying to ensure that we get, even if we can't get full live games, we are going to have activities that engage the fans right throughout the season. And as it relates to spectators, we are hoping that if you're obedient and you do what is required, and what is happening generally now when the public continues, we are hoping that we can go back to the government. They have already committed, by the way, to say that they will allow spectators at some point in time in the season. But we are thinking more later on. But we are hoping that if we get a good start, we can go back to them early and say, listen, these kids, there are 75 schools now. We are 2 weeks into the season. In another 2 weeks, 50 of the schools will be gone. Give us 50 fans per team.
May I suggest this as we go to the break? You know what will happen, Lance? A lot of people, we think that we are big and broad at SportsMax, and we are, but there are still some people who will not know and not know where to look. Can you commit to putting at least a redirect link? So I Google ISSA, go to the ISSA webpage, hoping to find somewhere to watch the game. Can you put a redirect there to say, click this and go to where you can see
so
the game?
I will talk with our technical persons. And
there you go.
Because we want them to watch it. And the more persons who are committed to doing that, the less persons who will feel as if they need to come to it.
And cost to see a lot of the game. All right, we're still talking with Keith Wellington. We're taking a break. Back with more schoolboy football. It's on in Jamaica. It kicks off when? Friday. Who's carrying it? SportsMax.
Marketing and PR Manager at Wisynco. In continuation of our commitment to football, Wisynco is pleased to be on board as the official hydration partner of Schoolboy Football this year. Our brands have long contributed to the development of sports in Jamaica. We have shown our support through sponsorship at the intermediate, professional, and national level. However, Schoolboy Football remains near and dear to our hearts because it is at this stage where the raw natural talent of our young sports stars is revealed. Our brands WASA, Powerade, Fresh, and Pringles have consistently supported youth and sports development and welcome this opportunity to do just that. We believe that corporate partnerships through platforms such as Schoolboy Football, as well as other sports, enable our kids to start healthy habits early in life. As a result, kids are more likely to do better in school, discover new skills or abilities, are less likely to try drugs, and become more emotionally balanced in handling adversity. We want our kids to succeed in life. We want to help them with their aspirations to be a national hero one day, who will be the next Usain Bolt, Sharika Jackson, or Leon Bailey. But to reach the top of your game, there are a lot of factors involved, and one of them is, most importantly, it's hydration. So with our brand WASA, we not only advocate the importance of sports, but our products deliver on the hydration that athletes need. We hope that participating in the return of Schoolboy Football will reignite the passion for sports in our youth and help to encourage Jamaican communities to do their part in the fight against COVID. We encourage everyone to protect yourselves and get vaccinated. So see you on the field, and hopefully soon, back in the stands. We need to cheer on all of our teams.
Tamara Ward, brand manager at Wisynco, with that message as we welcome you back to the SportsMax zone. If you're not excited by the return of Schoolboy Football in Jamaica, I'm suggesting You're developing corpse-like qualities, even though you're not dead yet. In studio with us on the eve of the return of schoolboy football, the president of ISSA, that's the Inter-Secondary School Sports Association, Keith Wellington, principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School. The competition marks its return on Friday. 6 games on the schedule across both the Manning and the DaCosta Cups. We have 5 games in the Manning Cup and 1 in the DaCosta Cup. Now, restaurants of, well, this is the fixture before we move on. Camperdown and down at Stadium East. The second Stadium East game will see Excelsior battling Tivoli. At the Prison Oval, a double header. Jonathan Grant, my school against Jose Marti, and then Stats against St. Jago. And then we have JC versus Calabar in the big game at Calabar. Also at Calabar, at the Costa Cup Giants, Clarendon College against the former school of Edwin Allen, formerly Frankfield High. That's what I was searching for. Yeah, Clarendon College. They play Edwin Allen also at Jamaica College. So 2 games at JC, 2 at the Prison Oval, and 2 at Stadium East. Now, Restaurants of Jamaica and Digicel are 2 of the major sponsors for this schoolboy football season, and we're pleased to be joined by their respective brand managers. Andrei Roper, a Liverpool fan, is representing Restaurants of Jamaica, and Reshima Kelly is repping Digicel. Welcome to the SportsMax Zone, lady and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Glad to be here. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad to be here.
Andre, you're a gentleman, and not just that, you're a Liverpool fan, so you'll have to wait a little bit. Reshima, talk to us about the return of schoolboy football, Digicel's participation, and what you are working to make happen.
I could probably start by putting it out there that I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't know if that helps.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, Reshima. It doesn't. But go ahead.
Okay. Back to schoolboy football.
Yes.
Yeah. So Digicel continues to be a proud sponsor of the Caribbean's biggest inter-school football competition. And it's important for us because we've been partnering with ISSA for a long time. And we had an hiatus last year, so I think everybody is really excited and anticipating what will happen as we kick the ball rolling on Friday. This year this staging actually represents our third of a 3-year commitment of a 75 million commitment to stage these competitions. So we're really excited about it, and trust me, we can't wait for the games to begin.
Reshima, Digicel is known to not be what some people call a boring sponsor. There's always benefit to the consumers for Digicel spending its money to support a big event. Can you give us an idea of what fans can expect? You know, people always love free credit and data and all data packages and all these things. Does Digicel have anything special in store for this season?
Well, for starters, we are giving you a front row seat to see the matches live in our SportsMax app. We also have it available on our SportsMax channels and on Steam TV. So that is important. So we encourage everybody, if you don't already have the SportsMax app downloaded, it's important that you do that so that you don't miss any of the excitement. In terms of giveaways, for sure, if you have our BIP app as well, then you have the opportunity to win $500,000 for your school. And also, streaming in the SportsMax app, you'll have the opportunity to win lots of prizes. Credit, of course, and we have a lot of giveaways. So if you continue to follow us on social media, you'll certainly get that information.
And again, Reshima, Digicel, given the company's profile, it's hip, it's intellectual, but it wears jeans and T-shirt. It's with the times. It's young. Schoolboy football, of course, for the teenagers and the young adults who still cotton on to the schoolboy football and other people who are still with it. Does the relationship with schoolboy football fit well within Digicel's brand profile and aspiration of what the company represents?
Well, absolutely. We are big on, just following the youth and how it is that they continue to matriculate as well. So our brand ambassador, Damian Lowe, is going to also be, important with us partnering with this. So he will be able to even speak to some of these youth around, how it is that they take their football career to the next level. He would have been a part of schoolboy football and have transitioned to being an international player. So it's also important for us that we marry that experience and give the youth that information to set them up for success if they're truly interested in having football as their career.
Yeah, Andrei, I know I won't be too unkind if I point out the fact that your school for decades hasn't really done much in Manning Cup football. But from the KFC standpoint, I'm sure you're happy to be involved.
Expecting that. No, definitely ecstatic to be back involved after a 1-year break. Schoolboy football is a tremendous property, means so much to the restaurants of Jamaica family. Sports development, youth development through sports on a whole. You know, our involvement through schoolboy basketball, track and field, and football. It's a platform through which we, as you know, a brand that has gotten so much from our Jamaican people, can give back and help to solidify a platform for our youth to grow, to advance, to thrive. And so we're ecstatic that schoolboy football is back again this year. We know the reality of the situation. We know the reality of the fan situation, that we won't have fans at least in the early stages. So you know, we know the importance of the broadcast component, the importance of the digital component, and what we will commit to doing is working alongside ISSA to ensure that we can, you know, put on a top-class quality competition, especially in the early stages, you know, when we're still monitoring and watching and making sure that everything goes smoothly, because we would love to see fans in at some point during the season. But of course, you know, we're going to utilize our social media platforms, our digital platforms, to ensure that alongside ISSA, alongside Digicel and the other sponsors, we keep the fans as engaged as possible. And of course, incentives throughout the season by way of KFC chicken. Can't get away from that. Just to ensure that we make the entire schoolboy football experience after that 1-year hiatus one that everyone can truly enjoy.
Yeah, KFC's commitment and partnership with schoolboy football dates back some years, and I'm not sure, looking into the future, what your commitment level is. But how rewarding has it been for KFC, the past partnership, and how long are you projecting to be involved in this?
I have to tell you, it has been rewarding on a number of levels. It's been rewarding, of course, as a brand. You know, you're aligning your brand to one of the strongest, you know, most robust, most historic, you know, most foundational properties, not just in sport, but when you talk about just, you know, properties which just have a presence which transcend even sport, being able to hitch your brand onto that wagon, it's been tremendous. You're speaking directly to your customer base. You're speaking directly to a huge arcade customer base who are pretty passionate about sports. Both current students and alumni. Many of the alumni we know are, you know, probably more passionate, even more so than the current students. But it was rewarding not just from a brand perspective, but also the past couple of years, the past few years prior to COVID, allowed KFC to give back in a pretty big way. You know, through our KFC Ad-Ho program, we staged our goals for Meals Initiative, and you know, for every goal that was scored in the first round of the Manning Cup and the DaCosta Cup for the 2018 and 2019 season, we were able to donate first $300 and then $500 for every goal scored to the National School Feeding Program to feed kids in need. And so over the course of those couple of seasons, we donated in excess of, I believe it was in excess of $3.5 million towards feeding kids in need all over the country. And so using the platform of schoolboy football as a means of giving back to the Jamaican community, and especially to youngsters, because we're all about youth development, not just through sports, but through any platform that can allow them to grow and to develop and to thrive. Schoolboy football was great in that regard. But just from the entertainment standpoint, getting the boys back on the field after a 1-year break, it's great to see that they haven't lost their enthusiasm, they haven't lost their drive or their energy. It's going to be great to see them back on the field, because there's no property like schoolboy football. We took a break after a few years, but we came back in 2018, and we have really realized the full value. COVID, of course, has put a little a little dent in the plans.
Yes.
But yeah, glad to be back, and we're looking forward to more fruitful years of schoolboy football.
And Andrei, we have accepted that at least for the start of the championships, both the DaCosta and Manning Cup, there will be no fans. So the viewers will have to rely on Donald Oliver's top-class commentary and the excitement he brings. How is KFC piggybacking on that and ensuring they contribute to the eyes that will be on schoolboy football?
Absolutely. The broadcast coverage is going to be important. We're definitely aligned with that. And of course, through our social media pages and our digital platforms, we're going to be engaging. We're going to be ensuring that, we cover all the events, cover all the activities as much as we can. Make sure that we provide further eyes into what is happening throughout the course of the season. Albeit it's going to be an abridged season, a shortened season. But, we encourage everybody, everybody who is following our social media pages, follow at KFC Jamaica on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, because we're going to be keeping you right in the mix of the action right throughout the season. And of course, you're going to be able to win tons of KFC meals right throughout the season. So just keep in tune, and of course, the broadcast on SportsMax, we're going to be a part of that as well.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Reshima. Thank you, Andrei. All the best to you, and let's have a good show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Excellent.
Thank you. Have a good one.
President, the last word for you. Like Liverpool, you're not walking alone.
Never.
Two of your biggest sponsors are walking with you. Good business.
Yes, and we're extremely, extremely happy and proud of our sponsors. It's not just that they came back on board when they heard we were going to have football. We have been working through this with them from 2019, as soon, 2020 when we heard of the pandemic. From March 2020, we have been having discussions. They know what is happening. We know what is happening with them, how much commitment they can give and all of that. And we're really, really happy with our sponsorship arrangement. I don't want to leave out SportsMax, not just as a broadcast partner, but also as a sponsor. And we're really pleased with the effort that everyone is giving to make this happen for Jamaica. It's not just about ISSA or any one of the sponsors, about the Jamaican youngsters and Jamaica as a whole.
Absolutely so. Well, he's more than a poor man's Peter Drury, but you heard Lance mention his name, Donald George Oliver. There had to be George in it because that accounts for the quality. Even the lead commentator of the schoolboy football season. This is his season, this is his time of year. Donald Oliver is waiting to deliver the goods for you. The Reggae Boys in Central America, in good spirits. Chris Taylor joins us next as we preview Friday's World Cup qualifier against El Salvador. Plus, later, the Windies women tasted victory once again on their tour of Pakistan. They hold a winning 2-0 series lead. And don't forget to check out SportsMax 2's slate of schoolboy football matches. On Friday, Clarendon College battle Edwin Allen in the DaCosta Cup, while in the Manning Cup, Curtin Razor, JC against Calabar. More SportsMax Zone after the break.